And welcome back. Today we are flying out the end of the line Summer Quest reward vehicle for the air tree, which is going to be the F4D. Is this thing a good event vehicle? Yeah, it's alright. Is this thing good for anything else? Well, allow me to elaborate. This thing is good at quite a few things. It's amazing at ripping its wings off. It's amazing at compressing beyond 900 kilometers an hour. It's amazing at simply running out of ammo. And for real, this thing really doesn't have much going for it, other than the fact that it's unique. It doesn't break the game, other than they're gonna absolutely ruin the team it's gonna be on for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Now sure, the compression, the wing mounted guns, the top speed and all of these things make this thing pretty annoying, not the best plane to fly, but the main issue that you will find yourself in is this. It will rip at seemingly no reason whatsoever. I was pulling with my mouse only there and it just blows my wings off like nothing even happened. And after I got done playing this thing, I went downstairs to get something to drink, get ready for this recording, and what did I find downstairs? I found 15 to 20 of those green shit flies, you know, the disgusting ones. And I got my electrical fly swatter. I started just swinging that bitch around until all of them stopped moving. They are just doing their thing, they're just living their lives, they're flying around, finding some shit to land on, and suddenly they explode by an electrical current. Now it's very much the same thing for us when you fly this thing. It feels like you are a shit fly and I'm running after you with an electrical tennis racket the size of your house. And I wish I could bring it a little bit more serious, but it's honestly really bad. It is pretty funny for the video, however, because every second you watch of this video, and there's gonna be 4 or 5 rips in here, every second of this video might end up in me randomly exploding. So it is gonna keep you on the edge of your seat. But I think that's about the only thing this plane really has going for it. It does have pretty decent acceleration, but what that does is it's just gonna keep you at that 850, 900 plus kilometers an hour mark, and you can take the boosters off, but then you compress even more, which makes this thing even more unplayable. And if a certain someone saw you playing this thing, he would probably ask you what color your Bugatti is, because this thing is the opposite of a Top G, and you really just have to find people that aren't really paying attention, find people in low energy states, and really work your way around the map. And the fact that you can't really go fast is annoying, because you compress, and if an A-10 shoots a missile at you at high speed, you compress so much that it's gonna easily pull into you and it's going to blow you up. Whereas if you go too slow, you don't actually cover enough distance to dodge it. So either way, you are gonna be in a little bit of a hard spot. In the intro I did dodge one missile of the A-10, but keep in mind, that thing should have blown me up. It didn't proxy on me, it flew past me, it didn't blow me up, and then 2 seconds later I did blow up regardless, because these wings just simply fall off without any warning. And I can show you these games just like this, where I get 5 kills in very rapid succession and tell you how great this thing is. But I really can't do that. So we fast forward a little bit and we start engaging an A-10, and the A-10 is, well, it's exactly what I just told you. And these guys really like going head on with you, and all power to them. But here I'm waiting for that missile, I'm waiting for the launch, I'm trying to lose a little bit of speed so I can actually dodge this. And after killing the A-10, which is clearly what happened since we are still on Berlin. So I'm diving in here, there's an F1 and a T2 that are kind of engaged, they're kind of slow, so I know I can catch them right now. F1 goes head on with me, or at least I think he does. I probably could have just committed to that one, but I'm not really taking my bets with a Vulcan. And I'm compressing, so if he decides to pull in, I cannot get out of that head on anymore. So I'd rather pull out a little bit prematurely and don't end up with a surprise 9 months later. The T2 then pitches up for us, and we can win this kind of fight as long as he keeps sticking to it. He will have more energy than us. If he tries to run away, he's going to be faster, he's going to accelerate better at these speeds, and I'm just dumping a lot more. He notices that he's not going to win that kind of fight, but at this point I'm going so damn slow that he can simply run away. He's still slightly above me, and he's already outrunning me. I'm just going to start lobbing missiles at him in the event that he doesn't know which missiles I have, and in the hope that he just starts overcorrecting and dodging a little bit too much so that I can actually catch him. But then I noticed the A-10 on his right, and to make sure we yeah, I'm kind of running out of excuses here. This time we actually died, and we are now on Krimsk, I believe it is, and we are just climbing. And this is the best way I've found luck in this thing, using your acceleration to get some altitude. Higher IS at higher altitudes, you don't compress as much. The only issue is you don't have RWR. Luckily there's not many good radar missiles, so it's not that much of an issue. But just like these two guys, you might have RWR, but unfortunately the MiG-21 and the A5 aren't actually missiles, so it didn't pop up on the radar, and that's why they didn't see each other. You know, perfectly normal phenomenon, happens all the time. It's not your fault, it's the game being bad, and you know, because of that they took each other out for dinner. So the A5 is still, I'm not sure in what condition he is. I kind of just broke off. I thought he was dead. But then I noticed he was losing so much speed. He doesn't have an engine left. Or at least it's on very low power up. So I'm just going to shoot a missile at him. And he is going to be out of the match. And the main reason I just included that is because I thought it was pretty funny. So we then start turning in. Now there's some guys a little bit lower. There's two Yak 38s and they're both going to go head on with us. And I'm really just inching this mouse to not blow my wings off. Because I'm really not feeling that. So we dodge them, go head on, and Yak 38s, they are kind of annoying, because if they get that R60 off at high speed, you die. If you get it off at low speed, you also die. So you have to be in that sweet spot where you kind of deny the launch. And right now with the 1 second timer for the warm-up for the missiles, that's not really going to get you anywhere. So it's very annoying to run into these kind of planes. But the Yak 38 at least has an absolutely atrocious flight model. So you should be able to just get around that and make sure you don't get launched on at all. They don't have the air spawn anymore, so they're not nearly as problematic as they would be if they would still have it. In the time I'm completing this term, I'm gonna say thank you to all my patrons. And of course thank you all for supporting me. We are already nearly at 50,000. Absolutely wild. Of course Oddbars has helped me a little bit. And I actually haven't shouted out this video, so if you haven't seen this yet, I made a video with Oddbars, live commentary, ground up beef, so if you're interested in that, it's going to be in the description. So we go head on with the Yak 38. Yak 38, again, the flight model isn't very stellar, and it's already going pretty slow, so we just go up and over, try to not blow our wings off, and because he is such a shit brick, by the time he engages his VTOL mode, he's already stalled in our guns. And we didn't actually rip our wings off. Well, I did, it's just a little bit later in the game, and nothing happened in between, so just, I'm not going to waste any time going to that point. Because it's gonna be like another 4 minutes before I blow them up. So my wings fell off yet again. Plus ratio, plus my dad could beat your dad up. So we got a little bit of altitude. And we are doing the same thing. And this is, I'm slowly getting the hang of this thing. But it's still, it's so bad. Like you have no idea. You can get around some things. And if you get down tiered, it's probably gonna be pretty alright. The thing is, every match is at least going to be 10.0. And it's extremely frustrating. Because against an A5, or an F5C and stuff like that, you're gonna be basically useless. It's gonna be very annoying. But you know, that's the matchmaker. At least it doesn't break the game and it's not gonna be spammed out for months on end and make the be absolutely unplayable. It will probably only be unplayable for like 1 to 2 weeks. People start noticing how bad it is and then people stop flying it. Which would be great because then we can just pretend this thing doesn't actually exist. We go ahead on with an A5C. We're gonna break off and I then get launched on by an A5 and that guy has magic, so I kind of want to stay out of the range of that thing. Luckily he's also flying into the opposite direction, so I don't really have to worry about him. But now I have the other A5 on my 6. And the problem right here is that if I try to turn around, I compress too much and I get magicked. He will eventually catch me. And if I slow down too much, I can't dodge the magic either. And if I am able to dodge the magic, it's gonna be a maneuver that's gonna end up blowing my wings off. So I'm just trying to outrun him for as long as I can until he starts catching me in the hope that he gives up, and he does. He gives me some room, and this means that we can actually start going head on. Now, we can go head on yet again, and this time I can actually fly towards all my teammates. So I'm trying to really nurse these wings home. I'm dropping some throttle, and this is actually not a great idea, but I'm hoping this guy is going to try to air brake me. And I have a feeling he's going to start dogfighting me because he notices I'm slow, or he notices that I just have this feeling that he's going to dogfight me. So I'm already dumping speed to make sure that I don't blow my wings off, and then he actually does it. The absolute madman actually does exactly as predicted. And now he is 0.5 in front of us. And I mean, you're really not going to do anything at this point. I can just spray you down. Well, spray you down to a certain degree because I only have like 20 rounds. So I hit his wingtip once more after critting him. And he is actually just going to be bailing out. And we didn't rip our wings off. But we're also only going 500 kilometers an hour. And at this point, I'm kind of like, well, this game is going to be a little bit of an issue. MiG-21, an F5, an AV-8 and an A5. And as we are thinking that, the A5 gets gunned down by the A-10. Well, not really gunned down, he shoves a missile up his ass. I'm trying to extend away, and now he's in a 3v1. So I'm trying to get over there as quickly as I can. Try to help out the A-10, and if the A-10 takes down one more guy, I can maybe do something. The F5 pilot I kind of know before. I don't know exactly who it is, but I know he's not completely disabled. And then he takes down the A-10, and I think it's lost. But then the A-10 still missiles the MiG-21 in his death. And now I can start coming in 1v1. So I asked Lady, can I 1v1 him at the end? So I just wanted to kill the AV-8 and then the F5. Mainly because I wanted to see the performance, and then you hope he actually complies. I'm going to go for the AV8 first. He doesn't. He's actually going to commit for us. And that's fine. It's just a question. He's not obliged to actually fulfill that request. But we're going very, very fast. And he just came out of that kill with the A10. He's going pretty slow. And he's going to pitch up after us. And he's going to shoot both his missiles at us. Which is pretty smart, because now I'm forced to shed my speed while I'm at my highest energy state. So this is actually going to be pretty annoying. And right now he's still climbing. But he's very slow. I think he's off burner. He's very low on fuel here. So I'm gonna put the pressure on now and turn this 2v1 into a little bit of a dogfight. And this guy, he still needs to pitch straight up. And he's gonna try and do that. I'm gonna go for the Harrier first, because he is clearly a higher threat right now. F5C is a bigger target, like a bigger threat in general. But in the energy stage that they are in right now, the F5C is a little bit less of an issue. So I want to make sure that the AV8 doesn't kill us. And then I'll make sure to switch back down to the F5C here. And he still has some fuel. You see his afterburners. He doesn't have much, however. He's very low on energy. We managed to get a crit in. And now I'm going to put most of my focus on the Harrier. I mess up my camera button, so I start spazzing out. But the F5C's crit is not completely dead, because again it's an F5C. And the Harrier, because he's not using his thrust vectoring, I can actually kind of loop him. And because he's doing such a bad job at looping, I can start peppering the F5C a little bit more. AV8 then turns the wrong way. I'm not entirely sure what they are doing at this point. Well, the F5 couldn't really do much. But the AV8 really let his teammate down here. And then notice that the F5 is pitching back in, because I'm going for the AV8. But I'm going to use that opportunity to get a shot on him. And now I can start somewhat of a 1v1 with the AV8. I'm right below him, however, and he breaks off a little bit too quickly, allowing us to get a shot in pretty handily, just like that. And even if he had missed that shot, because he broke off a little bit early, we were below him, we had a little bit more energy. What we could have done was simply cut into his loop and fall right on top of him again. Now, if that fight goes on very long, I'm going to have a little bit of a problem. Because then what ends up happening is that he starts just completely out-energying us, especially if he uses those thrust vectoring nozzles. But he didn't, and he had pretty bad lines, and he ended up just stalling in our guns basically, which is great for us. I then get a few games later, and I see a Jaguar diving out, so I shoot a missile at him. We get a crit, and then an assist. It is what it is. We go ahead on with another F4D, don't manage to get any sauce. And at this point we are back in that compression zone. So I want to try and turn around and try to kill this guy as quickly as I can. I then notice that he's already kind of crippled. So I'm just making sure that he dies. Don't have to steal that, don't have to attempt it even, especially at this range with this amount of ammo. The F100 goes head on with someone else, with another F4D. And I'm gonna come in there and cut off his dogfight, because that's what you do in Arabi. So I'm gonna close in the F100. And this guy is basically dead in the water. There's also like 2 or 3 teammates around. So this is really not going to be a high skill kill. But I just want to make sure that I get a singular kill this match. Because even though I have this vehicle, I am still grinding it actually. I haven't gotten all the stars yet. I got it from guys in to make a video for you guys. Now, I don't advise you to redeem the ticket if it hasn't been clear yet. But you know, I advise you to not redeem the ticket if you haven't yet. Or if you're watching this in the future, because if not, you don't have it yet. And boom, there we go. Sorry for the jump scare. But here goes my wing again. I'm still being chased by the Dutchman with a fly swatter the size of my house. I try to kill the A10, don't manage to get the shot in. But the one nice thing about this vehicle is when you rip your wings off, it is actually alright in terms of landing it. You can still land it with your gear. I'm not sure if you can land this thing without your wheels, because I'm not sure if your pilot will actually survive it, because very often in planes, or in some planes at least, I haven't checked it in this, if you try to land it without your wheels, what ends up happening is your pilot kind of touches the ground, and then it just instantly dies, which is annoying. But at like 400, if you get like just above the ground and then you start neck G-ing, and what ends up happening is when you neck G is you pull the other wing down because it has a little bit more lift, and then you land just like that. Now you can break your wheels off doing that. They rip at about 430, 440, maybe 450, around those lines. And landing it without a wing is alright. If you lose both wings, however, which happens pretty often, you're out of luck because you only have a rudder. Because those elevators are also your ailerons, which is kind of an L. So after repairing, and this time actually, and it's not a dumb excuse, this time after repairing, we have to engage 2 F5Cs. And the main reason I use this is just to show you how futile it is. So we go head on with an F5. We managed to crit him. And that's one thing, the guns are pretty easy to aim, they're very high velocity. You just don't really have the ammo. So I'm just trying to go vertical here and try to not rip twice in a singular game. So we are going to pull behind him. And then the MiG-21 makes sure that we don't die to him. Absolute brilliant save by him. I could not have done it without you. And I make sure to let him know in the chat as well. Thank you, Mr. Russian Turtles. Really a savior. Basically Jesus at this point. Now I see CL flying below us. We are kind of losing on tickets. One of those really like ground pounding. And there's an A10 in the match who died. But I have this feeling he is simply going to repair. And I want to make sure that we are up on tickets just a little bit. So I just shoot a few rounds. If I kill him, I kill him. If I don't, I don't. But I go head on with the F5C. And the F5C just flies past me. And he's just going to leave me in the dust. And I know I just had to do a 180. And I don't want to go horizontal. Because when I go horizontal, I'm going to... Well, I'm even more likely to blow my wings off. And if I go up, I can actually shed some speed, put it all into altitude. The issue is if there's someone around that shoots a missile at you while you do that, you are gonna blow up. And blowing up, I don't know, most of you guys probably don't like it. ZenX probably does. But other than that, blowing up is not gonna be on your bucket list. So we pass him, we take a shot, we don't get the kill. And we get the kill on the CL, I guess. But we don't get the kill on the F5. And I'm just doing it again. I'm trying to bait this guy into going head on with us. Because I'm going pretty slow. I look like a juicy target, but he doesn't want to take it. And I'm giving the opportunity to the MiG-21 to sit on his 6. And make sure that he dies. Because the F5C is a plane I do not want to fight one-on-one. And he just took off. So he's not going to be low on fuel. He's clearly not low on energy. And he's also not low on ammo. So this guy is going to be an absolute menace. If he stays up, if he kills that MiG-21, I'm gonna have a little bit of an issue. Maybe the A10 can do something, but the A10 only has 2 missiles. He already shot one off, and he's gonna shoot the second off instantly after. I'm not sure why. You see the guy flare, he's reacting to your missiles. There is no reason whatsoever to keep shooting them off. You're better off waiting a little bit in the hope that he doesn't see the next one. F5 is coming back in. I'm trying to go head on. If I try to pull that shot, I'm gonna go back to the hangar, and I think with that kind of speed and that angle, I think I would have ripped both of them off and I would have just been in the ground. A10 gets missile, he dodges it with 20,000 flares, he probably still has 300,000 left after that. And I'm just trying to chase down this F5C, and there's nothing I can do. This guy is engaging other people, I am third partying this guy, and I still cannot touch him. If I go any faster, I'm not able to get a shot in. And this guy just keeps kind of turning around. And I have to be so careful on the controls that I can do absolutely nothing. And I burn way more speed than him. He is much faster than us. And I finally start getting somewhat close to him. But it's still mostly because he's cutting me off. I finally get a shot here, so I shoot. But instead of hitting him, I hit a residential area. And I end up killing a family of 4. I'm terribly sorry. But that's just how life is sometimes. Now we are dead on the 6 of this F5. He's occupied with the A10. And I don't know what this is, and I'm probably not the only one. People really like flaring my missiles, and then the second your teammate shoots something, they just completely ignore it. And at this point I'm getting kind of triggered in the chat. This is not really at him, he can't really help it. But this thing was absolutely draining every little bit of my soul. So I hope you like me dying in the background. A10 goes for me for God knows what reason. I'm flying away from you, but you do you, king. A10 is going to go head on with the MiG-21 as well as the other A10. And it's going to be a little bit of a trade in true A10 fashion. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.